I've just received some information that sheds a whole new light on things.
Jealousy is truly taking over. Let's break down Cruel Summer Season 2, Episode 4 and find out what big bombshell just happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it is time to dive into Cruel Summer Season 2, Episode 4, titled Springing a Leak. Now, in this episode, we really see this tangled web of jealousy, get even bigger. Now, we've already established that Megan is jealous of Luke and Isabella, at least mainly in the, summer 99 timeline at the beginning, and now it's coming in the winter timeline of 99, and that we know Isabella is jealous of Luke and Megan. Well, this episode brings in Luke being jealous of Megan and Jeff, and like I said, Megan being jealous of Luke and Isabella again in 1999's winter timeline when they're just friends. Now, this episode, of course, ends with a major revelation about Luke and Megan's relationship. But man, let's just dive in. As always, there's going to be time codes down below. You can skip ahead to whatever timeline you want to go to, or my theories and commentary afterward. Alright, let's kick it off with this episode. It takes place in July 23rd in 1999 and 2000, and then in the middle is December 23rd, 1999, so we're about 4 days or so since the events of the last episode. Summer 1999, it is time to really see Megan start to let loose and shed her goody good girl image. Megan basically does a complete 180 that feels a little out of nowhere considering, the last episode, she was just becoming friends with Isabella. And while she wants to change everything up and not just be known as Megan Landry, honor student anymore, Megan wants to take some risks, be unpredictable, and of course, Isabella is like the perfect person to have her, guide her on this journey. So what is first on the agenda? Well, it's of course sneaking into a dive bar with fake IDs, right? So they enlist Jeff and Luke to go in on this mission with them and help them out. And throughout this whole timeline, you can see Luke kind of looking a little bit shocked by Megan's transformation in the way he kind of doesn't recognize her. Then we also see that Jeff and Megan get closer, flirting, which Luke is a bit jealous of. He throws some side-eye looks in this episode at them. Now, Megan and Jeff team up to make the fake IDs, and something interesting happens while Megan is hacking the DMV to get the watermark for those IDs. An AIM message or a chat room message from somebody named C. Babbage's 5 comes up saying, I can show you some shortcuts for C++ if you want. I'm a pretty good teacher. Now, Megan closes it pretty quickly after she reads it, but it's kind of like Jeff is sitting right next to her staring at the same computer screen. How did Jeff not see it or say anything or notice? But yeah, we gotta wonder now, who is this mystery person wanting to help Megan out with C++, which if you don't know is a computer programming language, and it gives me the shivers because I at one point studied this in college and then it was like, no, can't do this anymore. But I feel like we need to make sure that we log just this little bit of information because I feel like it's gonna come back later. Well, now that they have their fake IDs and new identities, they try to get into the club, and Megan and Isabella easily make it past the bouncer, but Luke and Jeff don't. So what do? They go wait in the car, and honestly, I'm good for them for sticking around, but it must have sucked that they had to sit there and be like, oh great, what are we doing? But we did see the two of them talk, and it seemed like Luke tried to hide his jealousy when it comes to Jeff liking Megan and being like, oh, that's cool for you guys. But yeah, he's not cool with it.
It's cool that you and Megan are, hanging out or whatever. For real.
I bet that's the driving force that actually gets Luke to finally go for Megan, and then, Jeff is like, you picked the wrong guy. But anyway, like I said, good for the guys on sticking around waiting for the girls, but in the bar, the girls go in, get some drinks, and have a good time, and once again, Isabella brings up her friend Lisa.
It was the first drink I had with Lisa. We were in Barcelona. God, we thought that we were so sophisticated.
Now eventually the fun is ended when Megan sees none other than Sheriff Jack off duty in the bar when he walks up to some guy at a pool table and hands him an envelope. Sketchy. See, everybody in this town has secrets. Well, Megan is like, we gotta go, and they book it out of there thinking the sheriff hasn't seen them, but then he kind of gives this look, so I definitely feel like he has seen them, and maybe this is what really affects him later on in the timeline, but I'm also wondering why Megan's not bringing up to the sheriff, like, I saw you doing some shady stuff too. Okay, but after that, the night continues with drinking at Luke's house, where Jeff and Megan go for a walk over to the tennis court, and it's like, damn, Luke's family is private tennis court kind of rich. For now, at least, anyway. But we see Megan and Jeff share a kiss, and while it didn't seem like she maybe felt butterflies or something, she did like it. And during that whole exchange, we see what? Luke is not focusing on anything that Isabella is saying. He is laser focused on watching Jeff and Megan, and he is jealous. And then after he sees them kiss, what does he do? He's still not listening to Isabella, but he goes in for a kiss there and starts making out with her to, I guess, get his mind off Megan. The timeline in this section ends with the girls having a sleepover, so they are officially basically bonded now. They're getting to the ride or dies point. Probably the next episode, I feel like we'll hear them say it for the first time in that timeline. Also, I just gotta say that this episode uses All Star by Smash Mouth, and that's an automatic win for me. Now on to the Winter 99 timeline. This timeline mainly focuses on the Landry's money problems and the class differences between them and then the Chambers and Isabella. So we've learned from previous episodes that money is very tight for the Landrys, that Megan is basically the breadwinner, doing more than her mom, it seems like, at this point to keep the family afloat. Now Megan's looking for some ways to make some cash fast, and she's talking to Isabella about becoming a white hat hacker when she gets to college to earn extra money, or maybe even before that. Now that's someone who hacks things for good, basically helping companies and whatnot identify their vulnerabilities in their systems before the bad hackers get in. Anyway, Megan is telling Isabella this, and we get another instance of Isabella's jealousy of Megan spending time with Luke.
I mean, it pays really well, so I could help out even more with Mom and Lily.
Are you gonna see Luke later?
Then we hear a ruckus, and we go downstairs to see that a pipe has burst in the house, and well, Megan and Debbie do not have the $6,000 they need to pay a plumber to fix everything with these pipes. Their savings have already been drained, and Megan only has been able to save up $900 from working at the restaurant. I got a question here. Debbie works for Steve, right? She doesn't seem, even if she's a secretary, like they live in like a small town, shouldn't they be making enough? And up until this 99 timeline, at least, we know that Steve has not been struggling. So is he just paying Debbie peanuts? Does she not work for him full time? I just feel like it seems a little weird, and she needs to ask him for a raise. But nonetheless, Megan wants to handle all of this on her own, even when Isabella offers them $5,000 to help, and Isabella says that her parents gave her that money to buy herself a Christmas present. Pride, however, gets in the way as Megan refuses to accept the money, even as a loan, and also doesn't want Debbie to ask for Steve's help, because it's just too weird. Well, they still have to ask Steve for some kind of help, so they go to stay the night at Steve's, and as expected, it's just super awkward. We get this little moment that I'm wondering if, is some kind of motive for what happens in the future. Maybe we know that Megan's doing anything to kind of get money. Does that get Luke into some hot water here?
You should have taken the money. Wait, Megan, I was joking. I feel like it shouldn't be that complicated.
I know, but money's always complicated.
We also find out right here when they arrive at Steve's house that Steve's business is not doing so hot, as all the investors seem to have backed out of the big development deal he wants because of Luke's sex tape. We also finally have Debbie talking to Megan about that tape and Megan being on it, and Debbie is just like, you could have told me. And it's like, damn, if this was me, my parents would have slapped a chastity belt on me, threw away the key, and locked me in a tower like Rapunzel, and I'd probably still be there today. But tensions are high at Steve's house, as expected, as Brent's hiding away, and the girls are just uncomfortable being under the same roof as Brent right now because everybody still believes that Brent was responsible for that tape. I'm still not buying it, because if he had gotten that tape, that man would have watched it and he would have known exactly who was on that tape. Now, Megan's jealousy comes out, though, over Luke and Isabella having had a relationship and being friends now. She seems to get upset that Luke's maybe, housekeeper or cook or something has made Isabella her favorite little potatoes and stuff. And then Megan goes to take a shower in Luke's room, and what does she find hidden behind the towels? Isabella's bikini, which is kind of a little weird. Like, why is it shoved up on that shelf behind towels? Does Luke not use towels a lot? After that, Megan has a conversation with Luke, talking to him about how weird it was for Isabella to whip out $5,000 and how it makes her feel like they're just a charity case. And Luke is kind of like, well, that's not how she meant it, because it turns out Isabella had called Luke for advice on, what to do with this situation. And Megan basically just gets upset that Luke and Isabella are friends and talking about her behind her back, when Luke is just like, no, that's just one of the many things we talk about. We talk about all kinds of things. But yeah, it seems like Megan does not like the fact that Isabella and Luke are friends, and it's like, oh, how the table has turned, because it seems like Isabella isn't too fond about Megan and Luke being so close either. But either way, Megan gets all pissy and brings up Luke and Isabella's privilege and how they don't know what she's going through and storms off. Megan then finds Isabella snooping around in Brent's room, and Isabella, when she's caught, says that, oh, I just thought maybe like he'd have more tapes, I was just looking, but I feel like there's definitely something more here that Isabella's not telling people. It makes me think like maybe her and Luke did make a tape at some point, or like did she have something going on with Brent, because why else would she care since they all think that the tapes have been taken care of? What could she have been looking for? Megan then shows Isabella the bikini top, and Isabella is just like, oh, I've been looking for this, I'm so glad you found it. And Isabella insists that she must have left it there during the summer, back when her and Luke dated. And Megan, of course, though, is on edge, thinking maybe Isabella and Luke were sneaking around, or that they overlapped in dating Luke. But Isabella is just like, I've ruined my entire reputation for you so you could keep your scholarship, and now you think I'm sneaking around. And then we get this line.
How far do I need to go to prove my loyalty to you? And what? Do you need me to kill for you?
And while Isabella kind of means it as a joke or to prove a point, I actually don't fault her for that, because it's like, yeah, what do I have to do to show you that I'm loyal? That's obviously taking it a bit too far, but I also kind of don't doubt that she wouldn't go that far to be the only one in Megan's life. Then we get the most awkward dinner as Brent just sticks to his guns about it not being a big deal, what he did with the tapes and all that, and he calls Isabella names, and it's just gross. And Debbie wants Brent to apologize to the girls, and he gives this weak, half-ass apology, and then Megan's given rightfully sass to him, and it just all ends up coming out that there were way more tapes, and Steve took care of the problem, and Brent didn't really get in trouble, and Debbie is learning all this, and just her face and her reaction, I just wanted to give her a high five, because I feel like that's how you should react. That's how the police should have reacted. That's how everybody should have. And this causes Debbie to, of course, fight with Steve over parenting issues, how Brent really needs consequences. And woo-wee, it just finally gets bad when Debbie calls Steve out on his bullshit too, because she points out that all Steve cares about is his reputation and puts his family name, Chambers, over his own family and their well-being. And I really wanted to give Debbie a high five here. She may not be the best parent, but right here, she is a stellar A+ person with a good head on her shoulders, because that's stuff that those boys needed to hear. Well, after that fight, it definitely would be awkward to stay at Steve's house, so they don't. They return home, contemplating what to do when the phone starts ringing kind of off the hook. Back-to-back prank calls of people saying awful things, and Megan says it's people calling Isabella horrible names. But when they're back home, Debbie finally brings up how this cover story is hurting everyone, and it's just like, Megan, you gotta do something. How long can this be sustained? Is it even worth it?
Better be. It's my future.
Later on, we see the plumbers fixing the pipes because Steve has sent them as his way of apologizing for being a douche. Well, then we see that Megan has gotten her report card in the mail, and guess what? She's gotten a C+ in the class, and it seems like she's not happy and hides it from her mom. Why do I feel like the next step is her hacking into the school's computer system to change her grade? Also, though, I feel like if they wanted us to feel like Isabella was really a bad influence and distracting Megan, she would have gotten more than just one C+. We also couldn't really see what class it was in, right? How funny would it be if it was in computer programming? But basically all the relationships in the Winter 99 timeline are starting to fall apart, so let's see what's drama's happening in summer 2000. Okay, so it opens with Megan sneaking out to put a trash bag in the garbage, looking around all paranoid, so all the stuff that the sheriff said to her in the last episode is really starting to get to her and get her on edge. Now Isabella is watching from the Airstream, and you're like, what's in the trash, right? Well, she looks in the trash, and it seems like it's a trash bag full of maybe it looked like bloody sheets, right? And Isabella looks pretty shocked, so maybe she didn't have anything to do with Luke getting shot or murdered or anything like that. I guess we'll have to see. But then we see Megan's lawyer really laying into Megan, trying to get her to tell him everything so that they're not surprised again at the sheriff's office. But that's not going to work, right? The episode ends with a big surprise, which I'll get to. All Megan really ends up saying is that she left the night of the party, and after the party she did go to the cabin, and the lawyer's just like, great, so you were at the murder site. And Megan says the last time she saw Luke was early Saturday morning, which I'm guessing is New Year's Day, which was the day he went missing, and that she hasn't been to the cabin since, which we all do know is a lie because we saw her there obviously cleaning things up. But more of Megan's lies do come out as the sheriff drops another big piece of evidence on her and the lawyer. He has a letter from Luke to his dad saying that he was running away to stay with family in Virginia. And guess whose fingerprints are on that letter? Megan's. And then Megan says, when asked why Luke would want to run away, all she says was that he didn't really tell her anything, that he was just scared. Then the lawyer's like, oh, he's had it. Like, that man is just like, I am not getting paid enough for this. But he's just like, they're done. If they want to ask any more questions, they're going to have to arrest her. But we end up getting Megan going back home, and Debbie is just yelling at her because Debbie was eavesdropping on Megan and the lawyer's conversation earlier, and basically everybody in the show just loves to eavesdrop on everybody. But Debbie is mad that Megan wouldn't say anything about Luke wanting to run away and how Megan let Steve suffer. I'm sorry, Debbie. Did you ever think about how Luke was maybe running away from Steve because he sucks? Like, you have to have seen how Steve was treating Luke. Anyway, Megan does tell Debbie that she was just protecting Luke and that Luke was freaked out but wouldn't tell her exactly why, and just that he needed to get away for a while. Luke apparently showed her the letter and she was supposed to put it in Steve's mailbox after she dropped Luke off at the train station. But when she got back to the cabin after work, I'm guessing to take Luke to the train station, Luke wasn't there, so she must have thought that he had already run away, and so, in all the months since then, she basically thought every time the phone rang, it'd be him calling. So it seems like she has no idea what happened to Luke, supposedly. Well, Megan and Debbie are in for another surprise when the sheriff shows up at the house with a warrant for Megan's computer because they think it has evidence of fraud. Now, I feel like this is the callback back to the summer '99 timeline. The fact that he saw them in the bar and using fake IDs to get, in there, and we know Megan is a computer genius. It seems like that is the fraud that I feel like they are going for. He remembered that as an excuse to look on the computer for something else, obviously. Well, it seems like Megan has safeguarded her computer because when the sheriff and this other tech guy are looking at it, it seems like they unleash some kind of virus. You also gotta wonder, though, who is Megan talking to here? Is it, C. Babbage or whatever from the chat room?
Sheriff took my computer this morning. Yeah, he had a warrant. There's stuff on it. It'll be really bad if they find it.
And then it's like, what is she hiding on the computer? I'm guessing it's just the viruses or whatever she was selling to people to make money that we previously saw in the episode. I don't know if there's anything maybe on the computer that's linked to Luke or not. But it's all downhill from here for Megan as she ends the episode back in that interrogation room again, and we get the big bomb drop of the episode.
And it only got worse when you found out you were pregnant. I believe you and Luke went to the cabin. You told him you were pregnant and he rejected the idea, so you killed him.
Oh, yeah, you had a baby in there? No. Sheriff Jack's just like doing a mic drop right there in that interrogation room. And that definitely put some new theories into play, right? An unexpected pregnancy, teen pregnancy. That definitely could ruin a reputation, right? And a future at college and stuff. But that wraps up the straightforward recap portion of this episode. Let's get into theories and stuff. We know money is the root of all evil, right? But you throw this baby news in there and it's like, oh crap, well now they need money. Although Luke has money, but I guess him maybe accessing the amount of money might be a little suspicious to his dad, and his dad does not want to find out about a baby. But could they be freaking out over money, Megan especially, in order to take care of the baby, in the sense of either getting an abortion or if they're going to keep the baby, what do they do? And, her future up in the air, his future up in the air. Yeah. Right now, I don't have any theories about whatever shady thing the sheriff was doing in that bar, but I feel like maybe moving forward we'll get a little bit more context there. But I'm curious if Megan will bring that up to the sheriff, being like, I know what you were doing too. I do feel like the stuff Megan didn't want the sheriff to find on her computer, like I said, is related more to how she was making money, and that could obviously get her in a lot of trouble. Not so much things related to Luke, but who knows, maybe her and that other guy were planning something to do with Luke. Maybe they wanted to steal his money. I don't know. I am curious why Isabella was looking around Brent's room. Did they secretly have something going on? I don't know why she would think there would be another tape. Maybe if Luke found all of Brent's tapes. She knows Luke turned in the tape, so what exactly was she looking for? Maybe she was just trying to be let's just confirm it once and for all, but she seemed also just very jumpy. Why wouldn't she have told why wouldn't she have told Megan that she's going to go look around Brent's room just to see if there was anything else? There's definitely something Isabella doesn't want people to find. But also the whole bikini thing being in Luke's bathroom. That was kind of weird. Like, do we know if Luke shares this bathroom or if it's only his bathroom? They're rich. It must just be his bathroom, right? But, like, you know, they made it seem like, oh, well, she hasn't been there since the summer. So, but why would the bikini end up there and she never get it back? Did no one ever clean those towels? And why would... It just doesn't feel... It feels weird. But that pregnancy reveal opens a whole can of worms, right? I just feel like there's just another tick in the disappointment column when it comes to, like, how Steve looks at Luke. And so if Luke was scared of someone, that could be it. His dad's kind of scary, right? You know, we see that his reputation is going downhill. He's losing money. Like, he seems to just blame Luke for it. So could he go that route? I know simply people have commented saying, oh, maybe like Steve did it and he's just doing all this to like win back sympathy and stuff. But that would be really twisted, right? But as far as the pregnancy goes, also Megan doesn't seem like she's pregnant anymore. So ultimately, what was the decision there, and who else knows the truth? Is Megan the only one who knows that truth? Her and Luke? Is that like a secret he took to his grave? What's going on there? And really, I do just need this coroner. Where is the coroner to tell me the timeline of when Luke died? Because it's still not adding up. Let's say Megan comes home and then Luke is gone already. Okay, well, where is he? Has he been kidnapped, or did he actually run away? If he did run away, what brought him back? Like, you know, Megan makes it seem like she hasn't talked to him for months since he left. So, like, why would he come back? Or why would he have disappeared? And then, like, how then did this stuff happen in the cabin? Because if, you know, it happened in the cabin right there on January 1st, that's like the first place the family would have looked, so they would have seen all this stuff. She cleaned it up 7 months later, so the whole timeline thing is still, like, confusing me. But also, does anybody else think that Isabella maybe, like, saved that trash bag of stuff? Like, she pulled the trash bag back out just to keep it as a safety, because it seems like, you know, they're trying to pit the girls against each other, the lawyers, so, like, who knows? Or if she was a true ride or die, would she just burn it for Megan and get rid of it so that it could never be found again? I don't know if you can tell, but I'm definitely still all over the place when it comes to theories. Still very confused, not set on anything yet. But let's read some of the theories you all have left on my TikTok and here on YouTube. There seems to be quite a few of you that think maybe what happened to Luke was an accident, or that he was definitely running away and something went wrong. I kind of like this one from Slightly Salty. They said, my theory is that Luke was planning to run away, like the pressure and distaste of the town and his family got to him, so he was planning to hide out in the cabin for a while. Maybe Isabella was going to help him or leave with him early, and Megan was okay with it because she understood and felt bad because it was because of her that he looks like a cheat. But maybe Luke ran out of firewood early and tried to steal some from Ned. That brings in the guy, you know, next door with the birds that likes to shoot the birds, and that's smart because he's got to come in at some point. They think maybe the bullet only grazed him, but he was bleeding a lot because it was a head wound, so the girls found him, panic, gave him the, you know, the pills and stuff to help with pain, but he accidentally overdosed. Now it just looks bad and they panic and don't know what to do, so they just throw him in the lake. That actually, to me, that's a very good theory. I could see that definitely happening. I just would like to know when it actually happened. It did not happen on January 1st because, like other people have said, that body would have been very not recognizable. Okay, I got this theory from Paul. He thinks that maybe Isabella and Megan were involved and that maybe they killed Luke, but they actually didn't. So it'd be like another, like, oh, did we do it? But something accidentally happened. I've gotten quite a few comments from people thinking that maybe the girls are actually into each other or in love with each other. But right now, to me, it just feels like an obsession and jealousy story of Isabella. Not so much being in love with Megan, but we know that Isabella's parents are not around. She moves a lot. She has no family. So it just feels like Isabella wants to be somebody's most important person, somebody's priority. She's very set on keep saying, oh, you feel like family, and you know, when Megan says you feel like family, it just makes her light up, and it seems like she doesn't want to let anything get in the way of that, so she's really latched on to Megan in this way, and I feel like maybe that's the obsession, that's the love there. I don't see it so much on Megan's side. But then again, who knows? Twists always happen in this show, right? Ariana said, Isabella is too obvious, and maybe it's someone we wouldn't suspect, like Parker or Debbie. I do agree with Isabella being way too obvious, you know, and the way that she reacted to finding the sheets in the trash made me think she doesn't know as much about what happened, and that, you know, I think people do think Megan maybe did it. But with Parker, we haven't seen her in an episode or so, but she was popping up quite a lot out of nowhere in those first 2 episodes, which was a bit shady. We also have this theory that maybe the girls were fighting and Luke stepped in the middle. I could actually see that happening. Hannah, though, seems to think that maybe everybody contributes in some way to Luke's death, and that could be an interesting way to go. I definitely think, the snowball effect, good lesson. You never know, how actions will affect people. Things you say, things you do. It could all just, each contribute to somebody's downfall. But yeah, right now it seems like most people think Luke was a runaway and maybe somebody was trying to stop him. Also, the preview they gave us for last week that was for this episode showed a lot of stuff that I feel like we didn't even get in this episode, right? They showed us a lot of the party and a lot of, everybody using the camcorder and Megan being arrested. So I'm curious what episode that stuff is actually coming in and why they put it in the teaser for this current episode. But you know what? Let's see what the teaser for next week's episode gives us. Maybe it's the same footage. Let's find out.
Someone's trying to frame you.
All the more reason for me to strike back.
I think it's best if you stay somewhere else.
But sooner or later, someone's going to talk.
Surprise.
And we both know you have a lot to hide. Oh my god.
All right, from that promo, it looks like tensions are definitely high between Megan and Isabella, and it looks like Debbie's kicking Isabella out. Is that when she goes to the cabin maybe to stay? Oh wait, no, they've already found her bag. So where's she gonna go? We also seem to have stuff going on with Isabella's lawyer. What's she getting framed for? And also, looks like a flame from Isabella's past has come to town. A boy? I feel like he must know something. Is this maybe the boy that came between him and Lisa? Maybe it's Lisa that's gone and not him. Oh, is she writing letters to Lisa who's not alive anymore? Oh. So many questions. All right, let me know what you thought about this week's episode. Now that we know that Megan got pregnant, what do you think happened there? How do you think that factored into, what's going on with Luke's death somehow? Who is moving up your suspect list? What do you think the sheriff was up to? Let me know down in the comments below. And after that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my rambling recaps. And you can check out more of my videos right over here. But as always, I'm Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to me ramble. I'll see you next time.